thank you, Krishna, for being part of the Pitch CMO Summit. And when I was growing up, not that I've grown up, it may take many more years, but they said business is marketing, marketing is business. And I've always believed branding, marketing is about creating growth, it's about creating business, it's about creating sales. Of course, brand salience happens, impressions on the ad happen, all that is fine, but eventually all this has to lead into growth for top line and bottom line. So anyway, I just wanted to say that to you. And I shared a personal story with Krishna that me and Naval were in Hong Kong some 18, 19 years back, less than 20, more than 18 years back, and we were staying in a hotel in Hong Kong, and then we extended our trip. Our host was an Indian, but for all practical purposes, he's been in Hong Kong for a long time. And Amit Jain, and he said, book your ticket through, we wanted to extend the hotel, and that's when Amit told us about Agoda, and we booked our hotel. We extended our hotel stay through Agoda. So we got acquainted with the brand 18 years back. You entered India almost 10 years back.
Yes, yes.
And give a sense of the journey of Agoda in India.
Yeah. Thank you. First of all, thanks for having me here and getting Agoda a chance to represent marketing side of our story. So just quick about Agoda. Agoda is, as Anurag said, it's roughly 20 years old and started in Bangkok. Three friends came down and they realized there's an opportunity. They created this website, and today what you see is actually started as a initiative between three friends. So that's about Agoda. It's one thing which I feel very proud about working at Agoda is one of the few Asian brands which is present in multiple Asian countries, homegrown as in like homegrown in Asia, and is doing really well across whole of Asia, as you just mentioned. So that's about Agoda. In India, we've been around for 10 years now. You would have heard a lot more about us in the last 3-4 years. And the first part, which I say like before COVID, we were primarily known as someone who brings tourists to India. And when you wanted to travel outside India, you would use Agoda to go outside India. And yeah, post-COVID, we felt it's a great market. We wanted to localize ourselves. One of the key driver was there was not too much of international travel. And Agoda pivoted to also looking at domestic demand. And that's when our like a real India story started 4-5 years back, post-COVID.
And while you were in India for almost 6-7 years, why did you start 3-4 years back doing brand campaigns, bringing on celebrities? How did you know the time was right?
Yeah. So as I just wanted to highlight that we operate in most Asian countries and of course across the globe, but with key focus to Asia. And one of the ways we do it is by being very frugal in the way we spend. Like it's very tough to create brands in multiple countries, right? So one of the core things what we do is build supply and then ride on the internet demand. So we are like digital first company, and that's what we were doing in India. We were aggregating the supply in India, and we were selling through mostly online channels, which is your PPC, MSCs, and a bit of digital advertising. I wouldn't call it like proper brand campaign, but a bit of digital advertising. So that was the phase. Once we know that we have something here, so that becomes our like foundation of any market. So I think first 3-4 years we spent in building that foundation. And one very important thing before we bring in brand campaign in any country, it's important to know the audience. That is the very core part of it. So then we start localizing. Once the business becomes meaningfully big enough, we start localizing, which could be localization across supply, what kind of places Indians go to, what kind of payment instruments they use, how do they look and like the look and feel of the app. So app you load here would have a very different experience to somewhere else. And once we do all of that, and then of course we factor that, is the market big enough? So luckily for us, all of those factored tick boxes, and it meant like now we are ready, we have everything we need, we have localized enough, now we are ready to take this story out to millions of Indian customers. So that was our journey to do a big brand campaign.
And you also joined Agoda around that time?
Oh yeah, I joined, that's a very funny story. I joined Agoda at peak of pandemic, which was 2020, and We didn't know. I thought like the worst is over, but then
You
we
thought,
had it.
कहाँ join? Travel industry join कर लिया मैंने.
No, but turned out to be great, right? Like I think it's travel industry really transformed in the last 4 5 years, not just in India, across the globe.
I contribute significantly to that industry.
Yes, I know with your magazine, which our hotel
No,
partners
no,
really
I
appreciate.
travel a lot.
Okay.
In fact, I tell people that my wife is very happy when I travel. And some people look at me very strangely, and then I tell them it's because my wife is my travel agent. So she makes money whenever I travel, and that's why she's happy. It's not about my being away, but that's both are jokes. On a serious note, now the first band campaign you did was with Rashmika Mandana. How did the partnership come about? What were the results? Uh, how did it work for the brand Agoda? And of course, that led to growth in business.
So normally we do spend a lot of time researching what is the story we want to tell our customers. And the first part we realized that Indians love to travel in group, right? Like family travel is a very big part of our everyone's travel. And the second thing, we love Bollywood, right? Like
Sure.
it's a very big part of our day-to-day life, and we wanted to like be a bit dramatic, right? Like if you see the ad, if you would have seen the ad, it's a dramatized version of family drama. That's what we tried to achieve, and I think Rashmika delivered that great. Where just a brief, like it's a family deciding where to go. Each one has different priorities, and yeah, so that was the story behind why we did that, and then we took it on digital, and then eventually on other mediums as well. Did great. If you see like all the performance matrices, app downloads, and all, those delivered great numbers. Yeah, so that was like our phase one, where just generally inform people that we are here and we have millions of hotels to offer to you.
Then why did you switch to Ayushman Khurrana? She was working well for you, and then you decided to bring in Ayushman Khurrana, and you've done 2 campaigns with Ayushman. Tell us a bit about that switch, and what are the dividends that switch has paid off?
Yeah. So as I said, like it's a bit more story led. Like we build a story that this is the story we want to. So think of it like a movie. Like you build a story and then you go casting who is the best and most appropriate person to deliver that story. So that was where we had Rashmika, and then we had a story we wanted to talk about solo travel. We wanted to talk about people who travel a lot, plan a lot, and it was like, okay, the first thing, like when we were thinking who can deliver this story really well, and everybody was like, oh, it's Ayushman, who's like funny, really like you will see like with our brand things, like it's kind of in the right direction, like he's very into it, and like it just effortlessly delivers that. So that was the thing. It was more like this the story you want to tell, and then who would be the best person to tell this story, and that happened to be Ayushman.
You know why you've done the film with Ayushman? You also did a campaign with him in February, which was AI-led, right?
Correct.
Tell us a bit about that campaign.
Yeah, so that's the first part which I was highlighting, I think, and that's the best part about working with Ayushman. He's into it. Like a lot of times, he's excited about doing new stuff, and then when we went with this idea to him that he, so just taking a step back, we would love to create a lot of content. Travel is all about content, right? Like it's one of those which drives most of your Instagram reels and everything. If we had our way, we would like to create new content every week, but we can't. It's limited by budgets, cost, and everything. But can we personalize that experience? So we went with this idea to Ayushman that, hey, people look at videos, they do a lot of research before they go to a particular destination. What if we co-created some content where we can customize it to every customer who is watching a particular content? So like, hey, I want to go to Turkey, and then I can show him a Turkey video. So that was our thing, where he was more than willing. He recorded those videos, and then we could customize into like 250 plus destination. When everyone watched, they actually got like a personalized kind of an experience, saying that, hey, why are you just watching Turkey videos? You can book it in Agoda and then go. So yeah, that was the part where like with one video we could create 250 personalization.
Krishna, again, the travel domain and the travel services business is growing automatically. There is a natural growth. There are staycations, business travel, leisure travel. Air conditioning is very strong. Wedding travel, everything is growing. Every player is growing, right? Almost every player is growing. travel services companies are planning IPOs. You look at the results of travel players, hospitality players,
All
they,
time
have,
high.
they have done results that they haven't done in an aggregated manner in 10 years. So how are you planning to capitalize on the Uber growth of the travel business? Uh, Give us a sense of, in terms of product offerings, in terms of technology, in terms of personalization, localization, what are you doing to be able to get a larger pie of the growing travel services business?
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely right. Like I think post-COVID, the frequency of travel, purpose of travel has changed a lot for the better. And we were discussing, I think it's the best time to be in travel business at this point, whether you're a hotelier or an airline or an OTA like us. I think it's a great time to be. There's newfound love for travel, not just in India, across the world. So what are we doing? I think there are two, three key pillars for us, specifically in India, and then of course across this is localizing as much as possible. So localize our storytelling, which is the first part we spoke about. Second thing is delivering things which Indian customers like. Where do they like to go? What places do they like to go? And then having very accurate supply for them. What I mean is, like, if people like to go to Dubai, they don't want to go to maybe Marina area. They want to go to downtown Dubai. So do we have very good supply for them? So that's like one of the variations of we use in supply. Then also the experience on the app. That's another part of the localization.
And I remember having booked the first Agoda, hotel room in 1819. Price, what got us on Agoda was price, right?
Yeah.
So, do you still maintain the price advantage?
So yeah, like I think at the heart of it, and I should have mentioned this earlier, our motto is travel the world for less, right? We don't mean cheap. We mean whenever you travel, you should always get the best value for that money. And that is like the whole, everyone in Agoda, from CEO to like the business development person in the company, is just focusing on delivering that value to the customer. If there is a price which is available, our customer should have that price. So that's the promise, and the whole Agoda machinery is focused on, and that has done wonders for us. That's what got you also on Agoda. So we deliver on that promise. There's no deviation on that, and that's the other part. Like, and that's fit very perfectly with our Indians love to travel. Indians are experimental. They want to try new places, and but they want value for the money. They don't want to overspend for something. And I think just matches one-on-one with what Indian customers expect and what is our core value.
Krishna, let me ask you, we've seen you doing the Rashmika Mandana campaign. You did the Ayushman Khurrana campaign. Clearly the next actor will be also rhyming with Mandana and Khurrana. I'm trying to think who. If there is an answer you have, we can pick the next Agoda ambassador.
Please do recommend if you have someone.
Right. But on a serious note, what do we expect from you as the season starts, so to say?
Yeah. So,
So, do we expect a new brand campaign?
so we just launched one for the season, which is the summer season. Not really like a summer season led, but we just broke our new campaign with Ayushman, which is around fridge magnets, which is again like a memory which is very unique to us, that when we travel, we want to bring memories from there. And fridge magnet happens to be one of those core memories. So that was the first one, sorry. And this one is about how you travel and then you want to talk about it to your friends. And so that's the new one we just launched. And then what we spoke about, there have been multiple campaigns about the AI one. Then there was a very good integration with Ayushman when he was traveling to US. So at this point, we are looking to create more content. As mentioned, travel is a very content-heavy thing. Like, people consume a lot of content. So we want to keep that freshness in it. So we would do something more about it to be associated with the core campaign we just got launched.
Krishna, again, right up front, you talked about the business of travel, the business of OTA, the business of travel services. Give us structurally what is happening in this domain. At the end of the day, communication and brand building is to be able to amplify the strengths that you bring to the changing business model. So give us a sense of what's happening in the domain. What should we expect in the OTA, travel services, travel business at least in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah. So 6 to 12, I will consider like a bit of a small term, like a immediate term, and then I can talk about a bit of a mid to long term. So immediately, what we are seeing is the demand is just increasing and getting maxed out by the capacity at this point in time. We are maxing out the number of people who are flying, like we are hitting new levels. These are the India numbers, like every day people flying is just increasing. Occupancies at hotels are all time high. We just spoke about the results our hospitality partners are delivering. So what it means is a bit of premiumization, like we'll see a lot more supply coming in the just from the hotel's perspective, you'll see a lot more supply coming in branded segment, which is luxury and upscale. That's something which is happening. We just heard about the plane order placed by Indigo and Air India. So that's another capacity building. Also record numbers of people are traveling outside India. So in terms of people who are associated with these services, so these are the three trends. What is primarily happening is people are traveling a lot more. And there is a lot more money coming into this. So people.
And then is the experiential travel, the luxury travel.
Correct. So that's what I was attributing to. So all these things are like firing at the same time, at least for India. And yeah, like I think it's a good time to capitalize on it.
Now, in travel, as you rightly said, Indians are very value conscious, right? Travel the world for less. Give us a sense of, now, where does that come from? How are you able to manage better inventory? Because there are other large players who have built brands, who have been around. They have the access to the same inventory or same supply side. How is Agoda able to get better rates?
Yeah, so I think one thing which works for us, of course there are global brands as well, including us, is our investments in technology. And this is something I feel very proud about. Like from my personal experience, it's probably one of the smallest marketing team I have seen, but super tech enabled, right? Like they are able to run millions of dollars of campaigns and like other things. And it's very tech driven. So that's one of the USPs of ours, that we've invested so much in that technology that it can help us sell anywhere in the world. So that's, I think, one of the big differentiator we have. And the second part is in terms of supply. We do a very good job of sourcing our own supply and also working with partners. Like travel is a big enough space. So I think partnership is also something which comes it's very core to Agoda. We love to work with everyone, and that has enabled us to give like supply across the world. And then the third part, which I said, like there is already enough people looking for travel on internet and able to convert that user, right? So if you do this very tight arbitrage, like there is a lot of people supplying, there's a lot of people looking for travel. If you can become that facilitator and bring that trust part of it, which Agoda brings in, I think that's the value prop we have cracked, that we will do this digital, and then in markets like India, Indonesia, Japan, we then amplify our presence through brand campaign. That has been the core strategy of Agoda.
Krishna, in your responsibilities, you're responsible for the Indian subcontinent and Maldives.
Yes.
Did you ask for that territory?
So it's
Confucius said, make your hobby your profession. You don't have to work. You seem like a perfect person to fit that quote.
Yeah, no, so I would think of it as a reward of doing good job in India. But yeah, we joke about it, like when we are doing business discussions and all, of course India is a bigger market and all, we would talk about India for maybe like 10 minutes, we would talk about Maldives for like 25 minutes, right? So yeah, no, just as it, I think.
There's a ticket from Agoda for the best question, all paid trip to Maldives, so
yes.
Please keep your questions ready. My last question to you, which is your favorite place to travel and why?
My favorite place, there are two. One is in Europe, Rome. I'm a history buff. And just before COVID, that was my plan, to go become a tour guide in Rome, spend like 6 months and then see what to do.
I spent 2 hours in Rome once. I was was coming from Cannes, and then I was in Austria, and I went to, there was a stopover, and then I went out. So I went to the main...
Colosseum?
Main Colosseum and, maybe 4 hours ahead. So one is Rome
And then one is Bangkok. Again, it's before people just start saying anything, it's headquarters of, like it's operational headquarters of Agoda. I keep going.
qualifier जरूर लगाना पड़ता है. I'll tell you 5-6 years back, there was a huge sports marketing conference and I had to represent India. That time Mr. Rajavardhan Rathore was the sports minister and I went. So I was telling I am going to Bangkok to speak at a conference. And people would laugh, and the honest answer, I didn't even come out of the hotel for 4 days, like a holiday. But I must tell you that women love shopping in Bangkok because the amount of fabric, quality of clothes, and the price of shopping, and the brands, So,
And you know where to book your hotels on for
yes,
Bangkok.
Yeah. So, on this note, if there are any, we still have little less than a minute left. If there's a question for Krishna, we can take that. Anybody has a question for Krishna? Nobody has a question. So Krishna, if you had to make one prediction about travel and the future of building brands in the travel services domain, what would that be?
I think one like a space which I'm seeing is how fast can you leverage AI to create very personalized experiences for the users. I think that is going to play a very big role for us. We just, I think, scratching the surface at this point in time through advertising, and of course, a lot of AI gets used in the back-end technology as well. But I think that's a very, very exciting time. Like it's like billions of data points are available. If you can leverage that through AI and come up with a very streamlined customer recommendations, reviews rating optimization. So there's so much work on that front. I think AI is going to be a very, very influential part of the travel space at least.
Thank you so much. Please give Mr. Krishna Rathi a big round of applause.
Thank you
Krishna.
for having me.
Since there was no question, the free Maldives package comes to me. Thank you so much for that.